All right, welcome to the chat. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's another paint and chat, mostly chat because my painting buddy, poor Flo, is at home sick. So hopefully she'll join the chat. You can make her feel really guilty about not being here while sick because, you know, that's smart. But she may poke in and say hey. So it's just me tonight. So instead I filled the camera with stuff that actually is painted, and almost everything in there is painted by me except for this fine lady here, little sister, which was painted by my good friend Paul. So yeah, and I think he'll be joining here shortly. So you know, my amazing moderator, behave yourself while he's not here. Yes, do that. So again, hello to everybody. Welcome to another paint chat. It's Wednesday? Yeah, middle of the week. And tonight's theme, I figured it would be nice to kind of take stock of how the hobby, you know, Wargaming specifically, has like positive elements for keeping us sane. I hate to use phrases like mental health and all of that sort of thing. It's a hobby. It's designed to enrich your life in some way. I find it different than what you might classify like TV watching, because while it's like a hobby, I don't necessarily think that watching TV is enriching, whereas like playing war games, it's good for your mind, you learn techniques, you can learn color theory, it's good for your literacy, it's good for problem solving, and it's fun. So I kind of wanted to explore that with you all tonight. And then I also wanted to, this has been getting put off for a long time because my dear friend Paul over Christmas, he had sent me a bunch of English candy, like Cadbury, like the way we have just Mars stuff candy here. So I'd been wanting to like try some of them, and then it got put off for, 3 months or something, so. Ho-hum. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. Hi, Todd. Welcome. Welcome, Bills. Hey, War Budgies. How you doing? The Plunder Den. Good evening, Shale. Heyo. Adeptus Ridiculous. Damn, that's nice, girl. It's about time something got painted. Oh, he got something painted? Paul? Oh, he actually is pretty good at painting. He's probably faster than me. War Budgies. Paul's not here. Everyone hail Minoth. Thanks, War Budgies. Oh, she. Yeah. Well, I do end up getting stuff painted eventually. It's just, I do seem to let way too many like tasks and stuff dominate my day-to-day life. So I kind of have this general sense of being overwhelmed all the time. It doesn't help that I kind of keep taking on like different projects and things. So that's sort of my fault. Hi, Melinda. Woods lore, not gonna lie, I got into painting to help reduce stress, which is nice. I feel like it's a little bit of a parabola, because like whenever I was painting, I found it initially to be irritating because I wasn't very good at it. And so you kind of are learning a new skill all over again in a way, or, you know, depending on how long you've been painting, you may not remember doing that. But, so you want your model to look good, and when it doesn't look the way you want it to look, it's like really annoying. But I've definitely since chilled out. The last 2 years has certainly instilled an appreciation for painting and sort of just an acceptance of I'd rather have painted stuff than not, regardless of whether or not I get it exactly perfect. Unless it's the model's face, in which case it has to be perfect. But, you know, we all pick our stressors. Dale, speaking of hobby therapy, how is Valhalla shaping up for this year? Yeah, actually I was going to point out or announce that this upcoming Monday, 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, is when the Kickstarter for Valhalla 2022 will be launching. So we're already set. It's happening October 9th through the 14th this year. So so that's all shaping up wonderfully, and I'm so happy. I'm hoping I get to see like my international friends and guests this year again, and And we're getting Chris back with some more of his beautiful tables. He got like 4 new tables made. Oh, it gets so pretty. It gets prettier and prettier every year. And then we've got our bolt action campaign that's expanding. I'm going to start reaching out to companies to see if we can get a little more support there. And yeah, like, it's such a week of heaven. And even though I stress myself out like crazy planning for it, all the way up until the actual start date of the event, but everything by that point's on autopilot, and I can actually like relax, and it's sort of a vacation for me too. So that ends up being very fun. But yes, Monday is when that Kickstarter goes live. Adeptus, it's a Catachan too. Oh yeah, I've got all my beautiful Catachans here. Now it's kind of funny, as you all know, Adepticon is happening this month. 23rd through the 27th, so not quite the last week. Is the last week of March? I'm hitting the wrong button. It's the 3rd week of March, or 4th week of March, but there's 5 weeks in March, so yeah. Anyway, that's happening, and so we might have a friend coming through on the way to there, and so I'm trying to have my little Catachan army ready to go. Still got 2 more Bullgrins to paint, like 20 more guard to paint as infantry, heavy weapons team, scions, not to mention the Lehman Russes on a Valkyrie. So, I don't know. We'll see if I get it done in time. Let's see. Shale, I had a college professor who said that a hobby must meet 2 criteria. It must cost more money than you make by doing it, and doing it must produce something. Well, that's an interesting question. I don't know why. More money than you make by doing it, I see. So it's not something you could reasonably turn into a business. But when you say produce something, how would you measure that? Twiggling, hobby therapy is real, changes my mental state completely to spend an hour or 2 working on a project. Well, I mean, I always tell you guys, like at the end of these 90-minute sessions, like it's possibly the most time I get to focus on one thing in a given week at all. Like most of the time my attention is getting pulled between getting phone calls, or if I'm at work, I'm interrupted all the time. And then there's just always little things that are always coming up that just need to get done. Whereas when I'm doing this, whether or not it's painting or just talking, it's just focused around not dealing with anybody except you guys and enjoying that, like hanging out with friends for those of us who don't ever get to see our friends anymore. So yeah, it's that. Let's see, War Budgies in Alaska this week, so I'm actually behind your time zone for once. Oh wow, Jeremy, hey, aren't you supposed to be with Patty tonight? Adeptus, so proud of you, thanks. DJ, Painter Flo here, still in DJ's account so I can say hi. So DJ, aka Painter Flo. Hi, Flo. Poor girl was feeling so icky yesterday. So. Also, I request 1 piece of each candy saved for me so I can try them. Oh, you think I'm gonna eat all this candy? Don't worry, I will happily save you plenty. Let's see, Woods Lore. Oh, it's a roller coaster. Some days it's great stress relief. Other days it's a source of all new stress because it doesn't look like how you want. Or if you want to try a new technique, or if you're working on a model you've never painted before. Like, I didn't realize how big a difference painting, I mean, and it's so obvious if you just think about it, how big a difference there is between painting like a little figure and painting a piece of terrain or a vehicle. They're just very different techniques you employ. And so you got to kind of get yourself in the mindset. Let's see. Sorry, I'm not live. It's okay, Flo. You feel better. Let's see. Time is what you don't have because of this production value. So judging your time is difficult. I appreciate it, but mostly I think I still need to organize myself better. Yeah, hopefully, Dale. Definitely check it out. I can, if you want to send me an email to wargamergirl@gmail.com, I'll send you a link to the Kickstarter draft, and you can look at it ahead of time. Let's see, some year I'll make it to Valhalla. It's so good. Thank you, James Morehouse. DJ, I'm always at the hall. It's my must-be vacation or flow. Yes, you're also, you know, my company and help and friend and all that at the event. Brayden, how are you doing? Nice Catachan. I know, aren't they beautiful? And I'm really proud because I can actually say, like, I painted all of these dudes. Now, there are some exceptions because Flo came in and she used her Micron pen and, like, she wrote Adios on Vasquez's gun, for example, and she did the tattoo work on a lot of my Catachan because, of course, Catachan would have tattoos. I mean, let's be real. So I can't take all the credit, but I can take like 90% of the credit, so I feel really good. And then the sister, that's Paul. So. Let's see. Gotta love those rare minutes of flow and headspace that you get at work. Oh, I know, it's so hard. Shale, what does produce something mean? Was the debate he was trying to and succeeded at sparking the class. Well, I mean, it's an interesting question, right? Because, again, how do you measure that? You produce something. Does a model go from pile of plastic pieces to completed, and now that's producing something? Or have you learned the rules of said game, and that's producing something because you've grown in some way? Or did you win a tournament? I mean, you brought home a trophy? I don't know. Adeptus, by the way, I tried to commandeer your Valkyrie on your Etsy and Amazon links. Can't get through your website. Breaching? Oh, that's weird. Let's see, Bill's been busy doing other stuff. No painting done. It happens. I try to paint every Tuesday on Twitch. Oh, really? Do you have you stream live when you're painting? Where can one find that? Shale, on my painting table today, terrain for Battletech, Karinsky's Fried Chicken fast food restaurant, which is funny to those that know the lore. Fortunately, that I don't know. And I feel bad because there's a huge Battletech meta here in Albuquerque, but man, like, I don't know if you would tier games. I guess you can. There's like the games that take up all of your life, and I don't know if Battletech is necessarily one of them. Generally, I don't know. The people who play Battletech, do they generally play a lot of other games? I know War Machine players, like War Machine was the only thing they played. 40K players, largely 40K was the only thing they played. Even Malifaux was largely, like, you pick a game and I think you play it for a while, and if you change games or play a different one, you probably just do that for a while. I don't know. Oh, that's wicked, yeah. By the way, did you know that Heroes Quest box sets are out in stores now? Heroes Quest box sets? Did I know that? Can't remember all the emails I get notifications of. Let me check something. Because you mentioned that, and I thought I did see an advertisement for that recently. Promotions. Unless I'm confusing it for something else. Doop, doop, doopa. Heroes Quests. I don't know. No, I was getting advertisements for something else with hero in the title. Well, that's cool. I have to check that out. I don't see Sergeant Slaughter. I know he's not assembled yet and painted, but I have him. Between spawning my channel and starting me on like 4 other games, I can safely say my hobby creates sub-hobbies. I do, it's under a different name. Oh, nice. Why would I be with Pat today? I thought you mentioned something about like playtesting or something and hanging out. Let's see, P, I only play Star Wars RPG and Lord of the Rings RPG and Dungeons and Dragons. We'll see, you're in the RPG player category, right? Now, do you use miniatures for the D&D or Lord of the Rings or Star Wars? I'm old school. RPGs are legit, man. Oh, don't get me riled up on Battletech. Oh, goodness. Eric used to play Warhammer 40K Friday nights, War Machine on Thursday nights, and miss those days. Oh, Melinda, we have it, the new Hero Quest, if you want to play it. All right. You're going to be surprised. I'm going to show up on your doorstep in Denver. Well, I'm going to call you and ask where you live when we get up to Denver at some point. That'd be awesome. But yes, I'd love to play Hero Quest. That's on Memorial Day. Why were you telling me? whatever. I'm happy you're here, Jeremy. Take a look at my Facebook on your Facebook channel. I sent you a link. Okay. Is that a 3D printed terrain piece or scratch built? This is a Resin Bridge.
It's a Kickstarter that did it.
It was sent to us by, who did it?
Ooh, I don't know.
Because I promoted their Kickstarter, and they made these freaking gorgeous bridges that you can just buy. And this one actually was like pre-painted. So it's just a resin bridge that you can put out on terrain, or out on your table. And it's nice because you can see that the bridge isn't just a smooth hill. It's stepped, so you can put your models on there without any issue. It's beautiful. They did a great job. See, I still remember the old Traveler RPG. Okay, yeah, I can show you these. There's some additional bridges that they did send us. This one is also resin, and I mean, it's painted thoroughly. You can even see some of the mossy detail. Let's scoot this out of the way for a moment. Sorry guys, I know you're showpiece, but there's this lovely guy. And then there was a really cool kind of, I don't know, bayou looking bridge. And it's smaller, but it's got great detail and obviously paints really well. And you can see specifically the detail on the side of the bridge, I guess. And then they also send you the pieces that you can assemble. So like stuff I haven't gotten to yet still. Don't worry, Flo, these will get to you eventually. So here's like more of an elven bridge. And this isn't painted at all, but you can see you might be able to see the detail in here of the like leaves that are imprinted on there. And so it looks super beautiful. Now if only I can remember. We got these, what, years ago?
Yeah, it was years ago. I'm going to look through your YouTube history.
Yeah, it'll be in my YouTube history from when I promoted them. I'm trying to remember the name though. Oh, it's driving me nuts. Let's see, Wargames played so far this year: Song of Fire and Ice, which Flo and I have also played, Mantic Armada Fantasy, Naval, and Star Wars Legion. Haven't done the other two. And I know Star Wars Legion, there's so much love for it, but I have not gotten around to that one. Let's see. But what was it? We played Song of Ice and Fire. I kind of want to get back to some Warhammer Underworlds. I really liked that game. Resinarium. Haha! That's the name of those bridges. Resinarium. Resinarium. They made just beautiful, beautiful bridges. So I wonder if they still are around. Yep. Resinarium bridges. So they had a very successful Kickstarter. And I helped promote it, and then they sent me all this beautiful stuff that will go into all these beautiful terrain, that will be the terrain that we provide for all of our beautiful tables once we get to it. Yeah. Yeah, I know how it goes. Let's see, working on foam shingles, gluing one at a time. Very relaxing. Oh, I bet. That's a Zen exercise right there. Whistler, I paint Troll Bloods, play D&D with minis and terrain. I make most of the terrain. I've made some terrain on Twitch, made a long ship and a toxic spill, all on the Canadian Dwarf. Excellent. Well, check out the Canadian Dwarf on Twitch then. Warbudgies assembling bolt action in my hotel, all explored out for the day. Yeah, I imagine that exploring Alaska after it's gotten dark is maybe a little less exciting. The only impression I've ever had of Alaska came from northern exposure. So I feel like times have maybe changed since then, but I guess you never know. Let's put this back. That way we can ogle my beautiful minis. All right, where were we? One of my favorite RPGs. There's some great RPGs out there. I'm hoping Iron Kingdom's Requiem becomes one of those. And I know there's been a lot of mixed feelings about Requiem popping into the 5e rule set, but I don't know. I think if it's strong enough, it'll be fine and people will be happy with that. Song of Ice and Fire looks really fun. Oh my god, dude, it really is. Like, it is surprisingly elegant. It's all tray movement, so if you ever played Warhammer Fantasy, you'd remember the tray movement. I never played Warhammer Fantasy, so this is the only game I played with tray movement, and that was really fun. So you have all your dudes on there. Resolving combat is quick, pretty lethal.
Your video is frozen.
Oh, is it? Okay, great. Let's fix that part. Thank you. All right. So yes, like I was saying, it's nice. Now, I've only played the starter armies from just the core box set that was given out at Adepticon in 2018, 2019? 2019, I think, was the last one we went to. And it was really beautiful. Like, it's super fun. The models are really nice. They still aren't painted because I probably have no less than 1,000 minis that need to get painted at this point. Like, it's gotten ridiculous. And, but Flo recently picked up the Night's Watch army. And they're just these general, like, the points values are pretty simple. You're playing like 35 to 40 points. It's pretty easy to calculate up. Reminds me a lot of early War Machine where the points were low enough that you could just add them up in your head real quick, create an army, and go. And you just have to remember the synergy stuff. And then there's these non-combatants that you can play during the game that give you bonuses on your turn because it's an I go, you go, alternating activations sort of game. So your opponent can choose on their turn to activate a non-combatant character, if they have one, or to activate a unit. And the unit makes its full movement, does any attacks it's going to do, or sets up any defenses it's going to have, and that's that. Now, the downside to tray movement is it really leans heavily into flat terrain, which has become the bane of my existence. I think at this point I'm just anti-flat terrain for everything except rivers, ponds or whatever. But it's kind of funny, I guess, in a horrible, dark, macabre way, so bear with me, because in the starter box for Song of Ice and Fire, there are these cutouts, and it's just a pile of human corpses. And you're like, just this flat pile of human corpses. It's flat because you can just move on over it and move through it like it's nothing, which is a little awkward. So, yeah. She speaks completely still. Yes, thank you, Melinda.
So your whole thing is not centered. It's probably triggering OCD.
Oh my gosh, am I making the OCDs crazy? All right, let me fix that. Maybe it's, there. So it's good enough. Let's see. I'm painting up Hollow Holden tonight. Going for a winter theme inspired by the White Death. The White Death, isn't that the name of like that Finnish sniper? Is that what he was? Let's see. Braden, I'm old school. I have played old fantasy Warhammer. Would definitely collect Lannister if I ever get into it. Really? Not the Dragon Army. Lannister's pretty powerful, because the set I have is Stark versus Lannister, and the Targaryen, like, of course I want to play with dragons, like, that sounds fun, so I may get that at some point, but, and it's played on a 4x4 size mat, so it turns out, as a War Machine player, I have lots of those, and so it's really easy to set up. Let's see, DJ wanted them. Yes. Woodslore, I've been trying to get my friends to go and take an interest in War Machine and Hordes. I want to play a game, but there isn't a real set group where I live. No, and if you don't live in an area where there is a set group, you probably would have to be the one to make that group happen. So you just start cultivating your friends, inviting them over, convincing them it's okay, then smacking them in the head with War Machine models until they learn the rules, because that's how the game goes. But I will tell you, Flo and her boy were over a couple weeks ago now, maybe longer, and we did a demo game of War Machine, and as I was sitting there like showing her and DJ, showing Flo and DJ how to play, which I feel so bad for DJ because he was playing the Iosian army, which I know very little about, versus Grimkin, which I am a lot more confident in, and yeah, I was lost, but anyway. It was really fun. Like, it was really, like, it's easy to forget how much fun you can have playing those games when you aren't having a negative experience with, like, just other players, or not even specifically other players, because a lot of the times, like, the people I played with have been perfectly fine, but it's just, like, the online chit-chat about the game and some of the, I guess, elitism that came with it got really off-putting. I kind of want, like, why bother kind of thing. So, but this was my little space in our little clubhouse here right now while we get to play, and it was really nice. Jeremy, I've started a Lannister army. I doubt I will have time to paint it before Valhalla. We'll bring it anyway. Let's see, Adeptus, I don't mind the IK being either D6 or 5e as long as there is a continuum. By the way, the two formats, I don't care. They're both good on their own rights. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I think, not to sound too mean about it, I guess, but, I mean, GW has long taught us that you don't need an amazing rule set to keep a player base going. Like, you just need a really interesting world and cool models to keep people coming back. And in my view, if there's a lot of leaning into the actual aesthetic and world of the Iron Kingdoms, like, that is the core of what will bring people in and keep people there. It's not going to be the perfect rule set. I know there's people out there who prefer, you know, an elegant rule set to anything else, but they are the minority, and they probably don't end up supporting a whole company just with that one demographic. So that it got into the 5e sphere and hopefully gets enough representation, or gets it put out there enough so people can know about it. I think that would be great. Let's see. Hey there. Hi there, friendly neighborhood transgender vampire. Oh goodness. That's a very long title. So yes, Pro 5e. Any plans for Valhalla this year? Yeah, Valhalla 2022 launches Monday on Kickstarter, so there'll be a big advertisement push once I've put it out, and there's already been early interest in it as it is. So Monday. And then the dates for Valhalla will be October 9th to the 14th this year, so that should be Sunday to Friday. Jake Dog, hi! Miniacs say Ice and Fire, good game too. I've not played it, gonna learn Malifaux and Infinity. Now GW price is getting too much. We'll keep the 40k army and finish painting them, but models cost too much. Which is interesting because I think when GW announced their price changes, the models themselves are only supposed to have like a 5% adjustment, but the books and what else? The books and other stuff were getting a 20% increase. And I don't know, I guess because the price of everything, like your day-to-day life stuff, has gone up so much, it's really hard to justify that going up too. Like, if all prices everywhere, it just makes you feel poor, right? So, I mean, yeah, keep the 40k stuff you have, and it'll cycle back around. They usually do. And Malifaux, honestly, is like, seems like a super fun game in 3rd edition. Like, M2E was pretty fun. It had its bloat problems with like conditions, and I think they fixed a lot of that in 3. So I like Malifaux seems like a really good company. I definitely suggest supporting Weird where possible. And then of course Infinity, Corvus Belli, they're super awesome. Infinity has one of the largest metas, most dedicated metas, I guess. And New Mexico, at least in the past, has been home to like the largest Infinity tournament, which is super awesome. And Corvus Belli did a lot to support that. So they are also a very good, like, well-intentioned, good for the community, like, company. So you can't go wrong going with either of those. I still haven't learned to play Infinity because holy cow, those rules and that army design, I don't know. And then there's like all this lore that people have gotten into for it too, which keeps them in the game. It's just a big other thing to pick up, but definitely cool. Although I did have a lot of fun playing Aristea. Aristea is super fun. Woods lore, White Death is the name for the famous Finnish sniper. White Feather is the nickname for the USA one. White Feather.
Yeah, the Vietnam sniper.
The Vietnamese one? Oh, or Vietnam sniper.
Yes.
Oh, in Vietnam.
Yes.
I knew about the Finnish one. I didn't know about the USA one. We had, I mean, I know Chris Kyle, like that's the...
His name was Long Train, I think was the Vietnamese name for him.
Long Train?
Train, something like that.
Oh, okay. I haven't ever heard of White Death. I know about the Black Death, the pandemic. The Black Death was a little bit different. It's also a terrible 2011 movie featuring the delightful Sean Bean. Ay, that's great. You're good. We can see your bridge. I mean, Katachan. I wish they bring back Mordheim with new models and a big kit with terrain and rulebook like the old game. Oh, man. So Chris, the guy who brings the terrain, the really beautiful terrain to Valhalla every year, he's a big Mordheim fan. So I know he'd love to see more stuff happen there. Although Mordheim actually is a decently fun video game on Steam. So I guess that's kind of one to think about. In the meantime, although, was it him? Yeah, I think Chris also has like this gorgeous Mordheim board with the multi-layers, and it was hilarious because we played War Machine on it, and all those different levels made the game dynamic so different, like wildly different, and it was a lot more interesting. It was really fun. So much violent. Let's see, my Wormhorde stuff has been collecting dust. Oh, I know. That would be an insane goal to have all my cricks fully painted. But that's like 200 some models. Glad I can use my fat mat. Oh yeah, the fat mats are great. Well, cricks is relatively easy. You got all the infantry, you spray paint them black, you dry brush some silver, put some green eyes on them, and you're good to go. If you aren't trying to go super crazy with it. And you know, there's what, Banes? I got the Banes done. The Warjacks look pretty similar. Black, silver, green, go. And then you just put all your effort into the individual warcasters. That's fine. Let's see. I don't like Sabaton. I like the old classic trash metal and power metal. Let's see, Woods. I like the plan you've given me. I now need to make a giant hammer out of War Machine Hordes miniatures. I don't want to be responsible for any injuries caused by my poor advice. Let's see. The old metallic, you know. Oh yeah. Pioneer Wormhordes in your area. No, it needs to happen again. Like, we need to bring it back. And the only way it's going to happen is the people who actually really like the lore and really like the game get a few of their good friends. And in a way, you kind of like vet good people to play the game. And then you start playing at game stores. And as long as you paint your models and your board doesn't look like, you know, placemats for a dinner party, then people will walk into the game store and they'll say, wow, I am visually attracted to this game. What is this game you're showing me? And then you can bring in new people. And I mean, it's just the organic way war games grow. And as long as you're a nice human, you can get a meta to grow. It's fine. Beating sense into them. Yeah, I know. I was a little aggressive there, wasn't I? Sabaton is power metals. What is going on? Yeah. Ferris Manus, Primarch of the Iron Hands. I remember Miranda making a video in a Russian accent to answer Dave's challenge. Oh yes, the chop your little men one. I actually watched that pretty recently. It's not too cringy. Let's see, in Halloween, what about when Pantera did power metal? I missed the music conversation. Let's see, happy late Lady Day, Miranda. I think you got the originals ladies to show tabletop war games. Fun for ladies too. Yeah. I forget about those arbitrary holidays of unearned accolades. But thank you. Let's see, since you're going to be a movie star, will you be selling headshots? Probably not. Well, I don't know. We'll see. If this movie goes somewhere, then I'll probably let it totally go to my head and become just this monster. But I'm not really good at doing that either. So we'll see. Let's see what happens. Igor, sorry, I just turned on the stream when I asked you about Valhalla. Don't know at the time if you had already mentioned. I did, but it's totally fine. Like, I'm happy to re-mention Valhalla. It's like one of my favorite holidays because I run it. So, and obviously I've tried to make it, try to run it as well as I can. And this year I'm really excited because we're going to be able to lean again into some new illustrations for it. And, you know, we're going to have some really pretty tables set up for it. And I don't know, like, I feel like I have a better handle on preparation this year, so I want to make it really good. Let's see, saw Death from Above, Wargaming throwing some shade at Wormahordes on their more recent videos. Really? I had to exercise a significant amount of restraint to keep from posting in their comments. Death from Above. Oh, what? I don't know. I love War Machine. Like, it's actually a little like frustrating for me because it is something I have grown to enjoy so much. And again, even when I was just showing my demo game to my friends, I was like, I missed this. Like, I forgot how actually fun this is. And but the criticisms against Wormahordes are not invalid. Many of them are not. So I just want to make it fun and enjoyable for people to play so it can grow again and not disappear, because I really don't want it to disappear. I own too many models. Let's see. Can't make Valhalla this year. I know. Look forward to the random pick nonsense throughout. Well, you're in the Discord, so we can at least post stuff there. Let's see. It's prices of everything. They were already expensive, and now it's just even more. I feel like I need to stop and make a stand. Yes, Malifaux. I like the card mechanic, and Infinity's got super cool models. Yeah, and they all have their own like niches, right? Malifaux's card mechanic is probably a little polarizing for people. Like, you either kind of like it or you really don't. I was pretty neutral on it for the most part because I felt like I pulled cards that were just as terrible as when I rolled bad dice rolls. So, but at the same time, I knew I couldn't pull more than 4 of a specific bad number, whereas with dice, you know, it's unlimited. So card mechanic is probably edged out a little bit there. I have the Resident Evil board game and Walking Dead too, but that's because zombies is the best. So you must be a fan of Zombicide. Well, Flo is also painting 400 models of Zombicide, I think, too. I don't know if she's still in the chat, but she's got a huge Zombicide collection that may also get to see some play here. Let's see. Oh, excuse me. Let's see, Andrew. I am hoping War Machine has either a full renaissance, so it ends up that I can pick up models for cheaper, or ends so I can pick up models for cheaper. Well, right now is the time to pick them up on the secondary market if that's something you're interested in, because they are terribly inexpensive, and half the time people will give them away to you. And then I still hope they have a renaissance because I'd like to see the game get played. Like, they do make beautiful models, and the rule set is actually really well designed, like the core rule set. It's just, it gets caught up in some of the sillier mechanics of special rules, and at this point, I've pretty well decided that the cast or kill mechanic is probably toxic to the playing experience. But check that out, it's kind of a perfect game. And we need 3D terrain. Let's see, one of my best friends Oh, thanks. That's a great movie. Which movie are y'all talking about? Oh, Death from Above. Let's see, More Time was awesome. Yeah. Looks like Riot Quest is getting a board game Kickstarter. Okay, fair enough. They have a great More Time phone app, too. It never dawns on me to play games on my phone. Like, I forget that that's a whole thing. And I wasn't there for the Blizzard, the BlizzCon where that one guy announced the new Doom for mobile app, but Diablo. Thank you. Whatever. Blizzard, who cares about them anymore? But yeah, I don't know. I did download one mobile app. It was Stardew Valley, and I was like, this is terrible because I take my tablet to work with me, and I don't want to get fired. So I'm just going to stop playing this. Let's see, do you know if any of our homies from the North plan on attending Valhalla? I'd love to finally get to meet some of the guys from Mini Wargaming. Well, they're certainly invited, but I haven't heard from them lately. I also haven't reached out specifically to them. So more on that to come. Last year we did have Dan. Now I know he's not Mini Wargaming, he's like former Mini Wargaming, but he's my adopted brother, and so he's great. And he played a bunch of games, and then we forced him to be in a Life of a Wargamer that's going to be coming out pretty soon, actually. So, Warlords, Woods Lore, Warlords. Wow. I backed the Deep Rock Galactic board game recently. Excited for that. Oh my gosh. Now you want to know what's happening with Renaissance? That is the board game industry. Which, do you think that playing board games is up there as the same level of hobby? I don't know. Counts as a hobby as like wargaming? Because on the one hand, a board game is this compartmentalized, complete game. Instructions, everything you need to play, just included in the box. And I noticed that most people who play board games play hundreds of board games. You know, they rifle through them. They'll replay some of them. I think like, you know, Settlers of Catan and Ticket to Ride and all that have definitely maintained. Zombie Side seems to have maintained as well. But like, it seems like if you're a board gamer, you play a massive amount of them. Whereas if you're a war gamer, you play like one or two. And you've heard of all the others. So, opinion, please. Justice Koronzai. VUM today. Hello. Bye, Adeptus. Thanks for popping by. Igor, have you seen how some people are now incorporating LEDs into their models now? They are so amazing. Into the individual models, only on large models. So I know Han was one of our guests at Valhalla in prior years, and he outfitted all of his models with crazy stuff, with lights and with speakers and actual video screens that would play uncomfortable anime. And then War Budgies, you had a Titan that I think, a Reaver Titan that was lit up and had sounds as well. Like that I've seen. I haven't seen it on very small models, but I've seen it in terrain and I've seen it in like big robots and tanks, I guess. So, what the heck? Hi, Mandragora. What's going on? What did I miss? We always get people to come over and check us out when we play Warhammer Hearts. Well, yeah, because that's one of the cool things about a war game in general is you've got these just intricate, interesting-looking models, and then you've got this battlefield, and there's no grid, there's no nothing. It's just free-form movement, and so yeah, you're like, of course it pulls your eye. It naturally would pull your eye. Miranda, you could never be cringy. Oh, I beg to differ, but I appreciate the support. Let's see. War Budgies also make content for the games you love, regardless of the quality. Best way to sell a game is to show that it's fun. Oh yeah, that's still one of my favorite comments. It was actually a complaint on my channel that someone wrote where I made the game look more fun than it was. And I was like, win? Okay, that's fine. Miranda, your queue said starting at 6, I'm 6 and it says it started 30 minutes ago. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why it said that. I changed the time because originally it was scheduled for the wrong time. It was like an hour later. And then I adjusted it yesterday. Sorry. Sorry, it's been going a while. We missed you. BS wants. We have lots of painted models in our group. So do you paint at home in that case, or do you guys like have hobby nights together, you and the gaming group, or do you all independently paint stuff and then meet to play? Because you're doing Menos work. Let's see. At least if you pull a lot of bad cards at the start, then the rest should be higher. That's generally true, Jake Dog, with Malifaux. I not play Zombicide only because I've not bought it yet. Will eventually. Yeah, definitely one to pick up at some point. I'm picking up more models for running Requiem. Mini Crate's really good for that too. They've got a lot of cool models that work very well in the IKRPG setup. If you roll bad dice, then you still have the same chance. Exactly. Hey, Maxicorn, how you doing? Popping in to say hi this week. I return with a double episode. Nice. So Maxicorn has put out a bunch of videos on like Wormhorde's lore. So if you're curious to catch up and you don't necessarily have the time to read it yourself, check out his channel. See, Wormhordes is pretty balanced right now. 3D terrain is the best. Well, so here's the argument that I usually have with the 2D apologists, and I don't actually have any hostility toward them because whatever, but 2D terrain, when you're talking about things that should be 3D, because again, a river, fine, flat terrain is perfect for that. A pond, perfect for that. A minefield, fine. But you're talking about like houses, and you're talking about fences and trees, like forests, all of that just aesthetically should be 3D. That's part of what draws your eye and is just enjoyable to watch. Like, I love beautiful things. You go to an art gallery and you want to see beautiful things, and kind of tabletop hobbies in general are an extension of that, albeit, down the line a bit. But just playing on placemats it is ugly. I don't care how accurate and how much you need it, how much you need that super highly accurate game. If it's an ugly game, it's just not going to be fun to play. Like, it's not going to be fun to come back to and want to set up again. And you're also talking about a game where enough models hang over their bases that you're not going to get the exact millimeter thing you want anyway, unless you play with proxy bases. And if you need it to be that exact, then just play a video game. Like, enjoy the aesthetic world, enjoy the irregularities of the physical realm. Sound like a crazy person. Let's see, War Machine scenarios suck hard. Well, the masters lists are all very bland and boring, and I think they just kind of get rehashed. But that's part of like making it fun again. There are some really cool asymmetrical games that you can set up. There are just unique battlefields or different kinds of scenarios you can set up. Miranda, what were your thoughts on Warcry? It looked very fun lunch game to play quickly. So Warcry, I saw one demo of it. I don't think I've actually played it. It's the fantasy version of Warhammer Underworlds, basically. Like,
what's like fantasy kill team or something?
Kind of fantasy kill team. Like, the way it plays is not quite like Kill Team, although Kill Team got kind of bananas too. I have not kept up with the new Kill Team rules once they started introducing the different shapes for everything. I kind of lost interest. But Warcry, I liked the smaller board. It seems like it's designed to be an introductory, in-between war game, right? Which Warhammer Underworlds is as well, where it's sort of a board game setup with miniatures. So if you really like miniatures, you can kind of expand out and go play Age of Sigmar or whatever. And I know that some of the Warhammer Underworlds models are now usable in Warcry. I just haven't gotten to that yet. And I don't think I own enough models to play Warcry, and I didn't want to end up buying more. So overall, my thoughts on it are I have not given it a proper chance. And Age of Sigmar has only had so much interest to me. Like, the models are beautiful, but it's like, I feel like I'm just at gaming capacity. It's like, well, 40K is good. Song, Ice, and Fire is like an easy enough game to be able to throw in there sometimes. And then I just have this little fire in my heart that wants to bring War Machine like back into popularity again. So I don't know that I can quite put in the effort for Warcry or Age of Sigmar. And even with Kill Team, like I thought I'd do more Kill Team, but the rules got so weird that I might as well just play 500-point combat patrol games of 40K. Like, that's going to be cleaner for me. Because there's only so many rule sets I want to hold in my head, too. Let's see. Dan is the patron saint of having fun in gaming. Dan is so good. A lot of good people show up at Valhalla. Isn't that right, War Veggies? Uncomfortable anime. Yeah. I started watching as a War Machine Hordes player. Have you tried Warcaster? Yeah, and I have some Warcaster models. Admittedly, I was emotional in my response to the launch of Warcaster, especially when they were like, and the old Iron Kingdom's world, I don't know, it blew up, it's gone now, whatever. And they're like, what the, are you seriously gonna spell plague this? And that got pulled back, and so I was like, okay, I can be calmer about Warcaster now. And the gameplay, Warbudgie's a fan, and he's got some great tutorials on there. If you go to his channel, the Warbudgie's channel, you can see how to play Warcaster in 5 minutes. He figured it out. It's an easy to learn game. The models are fine. Like, there's a lot of generic sci-fi, and so I'm hoping that'll kind of get expanded out a little bit more. They put out a new Kickstarter relatively recently, so I haven't seen those new models. But gameplay-wise, it's kind of an arena game. Like, models get killed off, but then they just go back into your pool and you can pull them back out again. And so you just have a certain number of turns to get a certain number of points, and that's that. So the concept seems fine. The world needs to be fleshed out more, because if you read all the Hengehold scrolls, all you know about the world that becomes Warcaster is that it's in the Cirrus system, constellation somewhere, after a bunch of people from Kane go through the portal at Hengehold and move on into the world. Now, do they pop immediately into the future? Probably unlikely. I think that happened. I think Warcaster's hundreds or thousands of years after. And so you may see some familial family lines or something that continue on. They haven't done any, I haven't seen any of the lore on it. I don't know, Warbudgies, do you know of some lore on that can be illuminated for us? I should have skipped my nap. I'm sorry. I appreciate you being here, Mandragora. The motorized Warlord Titan. Thank you, Warbudgies. See, I don't think War Machine scenarios need more interest. See, I think War Machine scenarios need more interesting ways to interact with zones and terrain. New and different ways to score would make the game more cool. Yes, and getting rid of the Warcaster kill mechanic. And just giving you, like, why do people fight, right? I mean, war, turns out, has a long history, and you can study it. And it's like, people don't generally go to war for no reason and just to see whose, spear is bigger. There's always reasons for it. And when you've reduced it down to a points game, which is, which you can argue that football and chess and stuff are all representational of warfare. But if you reduce it down too much, then it starts to feel kind of silly again, and it becomes incongruent with the lore that you're reading. So these impassioned people are fighting for this flag. Like, I think they just need to kind of meld that together a little better. So, I don't know. I agree with Thomas and Melinda. Let's see. I'm not a war gamer, so it's hard to compare me, but getting more involved with board games, it's massive and amazing, and yes, we play lots of different games. We saw a Signar Colossal with lights. Nice. Yeah, and that's what I figure with the board game world. And I feel it's kind of hilarious. It's like, who hoards more, right? Board gamers or war gamers? Because, piles and piles of minis and cases and all that. And then you have piles and piles of board games. And so it's like comparable, probably. Woods, I honestly think board games can be on par with wargaming, but it depends on the story of the game. Send the minis. The DRG one is dwarves in space killing alien bugs while mining. Well, all right. Revok, welcome. I think you're right, Miranda. Wargaming requires such an investment of time and effort, whereas board games can just pick up any box and play. Most of them, but then there's always going to be exceptions. What is that? Kingdom Death or something like that? Do you know what I'm talking about, Thomas?
Mm-hmm. I think it is just Kingdom Death.
Yeah, Kingdom Death. Like that's an RPG board game, miniature game. Like it's weird and it takes a lot of investment of time, and so it's not.
Miniatures.
And very intricate miniatures, yeah. So it's like, I guess a hybrid. So maybe the ones that are super involved are more hybridized too, because Flo has Cthulhu Wars now that she's working on painting up, and that's going to be some fun gameplay, but it's also more invested. Hey, Patty. Let's see. Hey, just got home, got my phone charged. I'm super pumped for Valhalla. Yes, as far as I know, nothing's getting in the way. That's awesome. I can't wait to show you. I've got such things to show you. Let's see. BS wants paint at home, meet to play. Fair enough. Igor. There's a YouTuber named Swisshammer who not only puts LEDs in Warhammer 40k infantry models, but also shows you how you can do it too. He has a pretty thick accent though. Wow. 3D terrain is more immersive and betterer. Thank you, Jake. I agree 100%. No, hands off to people who pin, who magnetize, and who put LEDs in their models, because I don't do any of that. 3D terrain is just better. Oh, I'm loving this conversation so much right now. That said, I love being able to bring a duffel bag full of mats whenever I need to game. Well, and you do more of the RPG stuff too, I thought, and that's obviously very helpful. And it's also really helpful if you have a game store you can go to that just has terrain available, and then you can set it out. Active Imagination here in town for a long time, when they still had their cool game room area, which has unfortunately did not make it through the pandemic, but they had shelves full of terrain that people made and donated, or that were purchased and donated over time. And it ended up being like a really beautiful selection of cool Gothic architecture or fantasy stuff. So you could make some really cool tables to play on, but you didn't have to bring it all from home. So that's kind of maybe a best of both worlds scenario right there. The Plunder Den. I am so sad that I gave away all my Hero Quest stuff about 10 years ago. I never thought it would make a comeback. Yeah. It's the way of it. That's why you never sell all your minis. Shale, yeah, it's hard to transport full tables worth of terrain. Wamposaurus, hi! Poor board games and their flat, boring terrain. Feel bad, man. Well, that's not entirely true. It's not Root. Was it Root? I don't know. Flo already left, I think. But there's really cool board games where you like set up like dioramas on the board. So not all board games, I guess. I don't know. It's just a different game set. See, Mandragora, forest terrain is such a headache, though. There's no way to make it look good and have it fit your minis, especially if they have varied bases like 40k or Warhammer Hordes for both large and small bases. Yeah, the best we've been able to come up with for that is you have a flat little mat or neoprene mat or whatever that sort of outlines the forest perimeter. And then we have like little things like this. Show you. This is classically put on a beautiful washer. And so this will sit on that mat. And so then they just get scooted around as the model needs to go there, but you still have the outline of the forest, and then representationally you still have trees on it that just make it look nice. So that's how we've gotten around that when we make forests. Not to become Battletech guy, but there's a version that uses a hex grid and also a version, Alpha Strike, that uses freedom movement. Very different experiences. Dust was actually the same way too. And I really actually enjoyed the grid map for Dust instead of just the freeform movement, because, and I don't know if you ever played Undercity, but which is Privateer Press game. It's really fun, though, if you get a chance to play it. It's a map that just has these really big, I think 4-inch or so squares that cover the map, and so you just move into an area. Your unit just moves into an area. It's perfectly representational, and it helps speed the game up, because obviously using your measuring stick and measuring out each and every one of your models moving out takes longer. Even though you can be more precise with it, it just takes longer. So depending on what gaming experience you want, Dust, I think, did that really beautifully well. So you just move into that quadrant. You can shoot 1 or 2, squares over. There's no question about, if you're in or out of range. It speeds up so many things. And that was a really beautiful game, beautiful models, cool, you could set up really cool terrain boards there. In fact, this set of trees was actually made for getting a game in of that, so there you go. All right, fellas, there you go. Back to where they were. Let's see, one of the guys in our local gaming group has spent hours setting up terrain for an American Civil War game. So then, yes, you get into the historical games, and they are visually stunning, people who are reenacting French warfare and the Napoleonic Wars and all of that. That's kind of beyond my scope, but super appreciate the work they put into really capturing kind of anachronistically the setup of what it looks like. It's really cool. So does Leolie sound like Ukrainian? Yeah. No, I was having a conversation about that the other day. It's would I get pulled on YouTube if I just explained the Khador and Lael conflict and exactly how that went down? Because it's a very similar playbook. It's just what it is, right? So. See, LRM 23936, my Battletech group prefers to play with 3D terrain whenever possible. Well, yeah, and then everyone has their preference, and I don't know, 3D is just so nice. Jake Dog, they ruined Kill Team. So many books and measuring sticks instead of inches, etc., etc. It's frustrating. Oh, I know. Paul and I were chatting about that. What? So goofy. Jay Alex. Hey, Jay Alex. He got to see the studio last week, so I was very excited. And I got to learn about the new game he gave me, Keep. Actually, maybe we can find it here. Should be over there. So some friends of his had a Kickstarter. And so, okay, we were talking about the hobbies of board games and war games. And then there's card games, those CCGs we all know, love, have at some point or another had in our lives. And that's what this is. But it's like a little dungeon crawling game. It's super cute. I'll show you in a moment. See, Andrew, all the WU models are available for Warcry, new Kill Team box, supposedly $195. More like the Belgian circa. Yeah. Should give Warcry a try sometime, yeah. Oh, that's right. Oh, are you going to be at Adepticon, War Budgies? Let's see, the latest Kickstarter is their big lore book. They flesh out the universe a lot. It should be available soon. So yeah, I'll have to take a look at that for Warcry. That does sound interesting. I just popped on to say hi earlier, but the round of Zoom interviews I was helping to conduct just happened to overlap. No worries. Yeah, I'll stay. The downside to the convenience of doing everything online is that it's easy to overschedule and just constantly have stuff to be doing. Oh, thank you. All right, so in the aforementioned, he did give it to me as a gift, so I need to sort of promote it here. This one, it's super cute. So it's super fast and ages 7 and up. So it's one of those little games that you get to show everybody, that you get to easily teach somebody. And if you have kids, that's even easier. And you have your little meeples and your dice. And then there's these dungeon tiles that show you the different, you build the dungeon as you go. You move your character, and then there's all these cute little directions that you get to build your dungeon in. Or sometimes items that don't belong in there. Yeah, there you go. So you can kind of see how it just gets built out. So that was super cute. We got to play that, and my dad won. So, and he does not play games. He was the parent that yelled at my brothers and I for playing too many video games. Which we did, but whatever. He's not a gamer. He won. So I think we're all surprised and happy. But it's fun. It plays quickly. It's totally worth checking out. Keep Keeyp. Yeah, how'd I do? Let's see. But I do want to check out the Warcaster lore. I'll have to, because I've just about caught up on all the Requiem lore at this point. Now I need to start building stuff. Oh, I need more time in the day. Anyway, Thunderdin, I like the hobby side of building your own terrain, but I can see you using 3D printing for smaller scattered terrain to enhance larger pieces. I love 3D printers. Like 3D printers are such a game changer for making terrain, for getting stuff to scale exactly where you want. It doesn't hurt that I know a 3D modeler, so that makes things a little easier for me as far as connections, but there are so many places that you can get 3D models now, and they're cheap. And then you can print as many as you want. And then you have the filament printers for big stuff, and you have the resin printers like Flo and my friend Flo and her boy have that are like 6K printers that print like gorgeous detail. It's just he now has an 8K because more. But it's oh man, 3D, that changed the industry. And I know GW kind of is worried about it, but they need to embrace that because it's the way of the future. People go to war for a lot of reasons, including in history. A bucket. Well, that's probably a little too reduced. So let's see, they fight over oil. That's one of the reasons. Resources has definitely been one of the classic, reasons to go to war. Who's got a bigger spear? Well, I know. It's a friendly chat. Duvin, your mic is clipping or spiking a lot. Is anyone else getting that? Sorry. I'll have my sound guy look at that. Ooh, we got a super chat. Mac Attack, hey, how are you doing? Henry Cavill shows us just about what level of income is needed to be able to afford playing Games Workshop games. Touché, Skip. Let's see, scenario for my group tomorrow. Get across the board to Kerensky's Fried Chicken and back to the dropship. First to get back wins. Everyone else gets stuck with the bill. Wow. See, and that's fun. More and more board games are using minis to make them more attractive, which makes sense. I mean, I think the most popular Kickstarter board games are the ones that include miniatures because everyone knows they're cool. Like, look at these guys. How can you not, unless you're as minimalist as some, how can you not love these guys? Like, they're just cool. Star Wars Armada is a pretty big investment for a board game, time and pieces. Not that I've played it. Nice, Melinda. I appreciate you hanging. No, but because I know that you've become more of a board gamer recently and have, I think it's already taken over a room in your house. Although Armada was a board game, yes. Let's see, Armada does look very fun. It's still cheaper than 40K. Haven't managed to play through it yet. Yeah, 40K still sort of takes the cake. Let's see, Mark Gacy. Hello, old CDs with a bunch of stuff included on it makes for super quick, easy, flexible terrain. Yes. Although one of the other upshots to something like 3D prints are that they're really hardy. Like, you can drop a 3D printed item and it's most likely going to stay intact. Not that I've done that a few times. And it's really light, and you can toss it in a box and go, and it's so nice. Like, from the days of making everything out of foam, it's night and day. But I also remember using CDs and gluing special terrain pieces on there because there are specific sizes designated to terrain pieces in War Machine, and so a CD was one of the perfect ones. Using that setup for trees, your Catachans will have their secret weapon, jungles. Oh, I know. I love their I think it was an old stratagem. I assume it's still in the new edition with the man traps or whatever, where they become, if they're in a terrain feature, like they can inflict mortal wounds when you get into melee combat with them because they've set up traps, which totally makes you think of Predator, right, where they've arranged everything, which is exactly what these fellas are, right? Undercity is a great game. Yes, I own the game. Undercity is super fun. It got really panned because the tiles for setting up the walls were complained about for being too bland. And that actually would lean really well into having some 3D printed or just 3D like tiles that represent the walls, and then suddenly everybody would probably think it was super awesome. But yeah, Undercity is super fun. See, interestingly, I don't think Armada or X-Wing don't play well with 3D terrain. I played X-Wing, and I thought it would be in the way. Well, I mean, that sort of makes a little more sense. Well, you could go either way. Yeah, I mean, you're in outer space, like, unless you have like just some little sticks with meteors on them. Like, I don't know that is gonna be so awesome. So space is a little bit of a different thing, I guess. I do like games with the big grids like Undercity, Dead Zone, etc. Yeah, they end up being, like, that's the fast version of miniature gameplay, in my view. Nicholas, for me, Wargames provides the immersion factor that I crave in my hobbies. That said, a lot of good game of Settlers of Catan. Settlers of Catan is fun. I mean, it's like a popular game for a reason. Let's see, Woodslore, you can make some nice terrain trees out of Scotch Brite scrubbing pads. It takes a little work, but can make some pine or spruce trees. So are you just cutting them into like strips and then making an array of them to create trees and then splicing them? J. Alex, Miranda introduced me to Dust. I really enjoyed it, except when I lost nearly every match. I do agree with her assessment, though. I appreciate that. No, Dust is super fun, and your friend, I hope he's doing well. Like, he was a big old Dust fan, and I mean, he taught both of us, really. Mandragora, crazy idea. What if it was layered, like a tray with a forest placed over a columned terrain outline with enough space between the floor and the ceiling to fit the minis? Maybe? As long as it's high enough, I guess, and then you'd be limited just by how varied your models are. It could work. The only thing would be, if from a practical sense, is whether or not you're remembering and can see your minis in that area, if there's like a top layer covering them. Kind of out of sight, out of mind risk there. Wait, Miranda played Dust? I did! I was going to put battle reports out, and then they closed. See, I mean, I'm still going to. What am I saying? Patrick Wilson, that's how movement works for my Mutants game. Makes it easier for kids or people who have trouble with reaching across the table and such. Ooh, you should have little sticks, too, that will feel really classy playing a game with your little scoochy sticks. Let's see, Jake Dog, my dad have lots of Pokemon cards from when they come out. He not let me choose them. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Those things might be worth money someday, like those Beanie Babies. Oh, thank you. It is a Spanky Studio. We're budgies. I'm going to be at Adepticon, going to do a lot of Privateer press games and Riot FFA event. Post to Discord. I want to see. I'm missing Adepticon this year. I'm sad. Maybe next year. Let's see. We'll have to play my Traveler RPG now. Take care, Jeremy. Bye. See, call me later, Jeremy. Sorry, I missed your call. Back and forth. Let's see. Thomas, I'm Adepticon bound, playing Riot Quest, Iron Arena, and P3 painting contests. Okay, so when is my next stream? Oh, it's the day Adepticon starts. Okay. I want to know how Adepticon was to everybody who's gone. I especially want to know how busy the War Machine area was, and like, if it seemed like it had a good tournament turnout, and I don't know, if they participated in Armies on Parade or any of that, like, and encourage it. So.
Tell me get video on their phones.
Ooh, yeah, get video. I want to see. I just want to be there vicariously. That game looks very cute and fun. Have you played Exploding Kittens? Oh yeah, I have Exploding Kittens and Unstable Unicorns. Because how could I not? See, Jax, there are a few surprise tiles in the keep which cause random things to happen as you explore, like falling into a black hole. That totally happened to me. Chanel, one of our FLGS is closing permanently at the end of the month. They've been the store for over 40 years. Oh, I hate seeing that. Is it because of like pandemic, or is it because someone's retiring? Because 40 years is also a really long time to have your store, and if they're a sole proprietor, I might understand that, but that said, it's still so sad. Like, you're kind of a part of the community, like very integrated into the community. Let's see, I've got almost all my Riot Quest painted. I need to put the missing parts requested in for Fiora's backpack. 3D printers would be the best thing to make Warhammer affordable. Proxy models. Hey, I'm not saying what to do with your 3D printer. I'm just saying they're amazing. War budgies. Miranda, hit me up sometime and we can talk Warcaster lore. I owe you for teaching me so much Warmahordes lore. Oh, yeah, totally. We should have a discussion. We should have a live stream and talk about it. If you want. Let's see. That mouse, that you mouse clicking, it might be? It's probably picking it up. That mic is super sensitive. Let's see. No, seriously, there was a war over a bucket between city-states Bologna, and Modena in 1325. All right, how good is the record keeping in 1325? I mean, if you think about that. A war over a bucket? I want to see more information on that, because that sounds ridiculous. Of course, warfare in 1325 is a little less, well, a little different anyway. I'm not going to say less scary. Nicholas Tovar, the way things are going, gasoline, might end up being as expensive as Games Workshop miniatures. Oh, I know, I've seen it, like the gas pumps with financing available stickers on them. Jealous of all those people working from home right now. See, GE used to sell books on how to make terrain from rubbish at home. But now they don't want people to do that and want them to buy their terrain instead. Yeah. But 3D printers kind of cut out all of that gatekeeping. The price drop, I'm tempted to complete my Tharn, but it's also a little depressing. Like, if less people love it, one might feel, why bother? It's a sad time. PP did not do themselves favors. No, they didn't. But I have to stay a little hopeful. I have to stay a little bit hopeful for it. Yeah, Neil was instrumental in teaching us. Yeah, Neil was great. See, Jake, magneting area with magnets in the bottom of the trees is the best way to make a forest area these days. I mean, if you have a weighted base and it's just on something that outlines the perimeter of the forest, I think that still works better than a magnet. Although, if you have a metal base, then you can magnetize it. Like, just whatever, it's easy. Only 17 days till Army Painter ships the speed paint set. My last best hope to make a dent in the vast array of unpainted miniatures. Not to mention all of my unprinted STLs. Ooh. Yeah, the speed painters. I definitely want everyone's opinion on that, because I don't know if I need to get that as like something for Flo to help her along or what. But I'm totally open-minded to it. Okay, tangent. Have you seen the Batman and thoughts? I did. We saw it yesterday. I do have some thoughts, which might as well jump into, because we've only got, oh my gosh, I've been yapping so much. We've only got like 10 minutes left. What about Kittens in a Blender? Oh my god, that's horrible. No, I have not played that. That sounds just mean. It's like how to tell if you're going to be a serial killer in the future. Did you buy that game? Sounds like it gets you on a list. Let's see, I have like 3 trinaries of mechs and a trinary? Am I saying that right? Of elementals that are waiting on speed paint. Ooh. Well, definitely let me know how that goes for you. See, store is closing because their landlord is upping their rent by a lot, and they decided to take it as a sign to retire. That sucks. The most recent Primecast, they said that they were doing an Iron Gauntlet qualifier at Adepticon. I'm excited to see some more Primecasts in the months to come. Ooh, our budget is down for live streaming. Yes, let's do it. See, oversimplified. Did a video on the War of the Bucket. It's real. It's stupid. It's real stupid. Fine. I'm looking that up afterward because it sounds insane. Let's see, the war, not the video. The video is very funny. War Budgies, you share it on any Facebook or Instagram pages? Well, he's got his channel. Like War Budgies is his own YouTube channel too. See, I heard the speed paints can reactivate, so the trick apparently is to seal them before painting over it. Jar kittens for real life. How to make pocket kittens. There's nothing gory except in your imagination. Well, I mean, Blender is a noun that has a meaning. I don't think it's my imagination. It's literally where you led me, and it was done on purpose. Valrak has an interesting video about falling out of love with 40K. Yeah, Paul was telling me about that, and I feel bad for him. So yes, the Batman. 2 hours and 56 minutes, and it starts off so amazing and really interesting. Like, I don't know, it's 2/3 amazing, and then the last third, it's one of those movies, again, and I don't know, like most movies we go to see anymore, it's the third act, it just falls to pieces, and this fell to pieces. I described it to one of my friends today, and I won't give away any spoilers on it, it's just like, kind of just the generic structure of it, and obviously not everyone's going to agree with me on it. But it seemed like the tone they took with the Batman started to make the maybe studios nervous or something, and they were like, yeah, we need explosions, quick, throw in explosions and whatever. And so when it comes up, you're like, huh? What? Why? And it's just, it gets silly and throws you out of the movie, in my view. Like, it threw me out of the world. 3 hours was also probably a little self-indulgent, I'd say, because there are just scenes that didn't need to be that long in order to still convey the same, like, emotional weight. So I know Hollywood has all been moving toward not editing their material down, but it doesn't do them a lot of favors. Like, it drove me nuts when I watched Nightmare Alley, like how long that movie was legitimately a 40-minute story. And while the Batman is significantly better than that, and again, like, it starts off his early, with his earlier career, right? And you're seeing who he is and what he's going through, and it's conveyed super well until the third act. And that's all I could really say without spoiling more on it. Let's see, Valrak isn't the only one. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I want to see the new Amazon Lord of the Rings series, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi. But I don't have high expectations for the Amazon series. No, Amazon's just do it. Like, it's all fan fiction anymore. Like, I don't know, just, I'm so desensitized to it. 3 hours is just length of Lord of the Rings movies. Even then, could have been shorter though. I mean, the Lord of the Rings, I have sat through the extended editions of the Lord of the Rings, and if you really like the world and you really like the environment, it's where you can get away with doing a lot of that. The problem with something like Batman, I mean, they film it as if they were remaking Seven. I don't need 3 hours of Seven. Like, that's depressing. And it didn't convey enough story to make it worth it, is more of the issue. Because, like, a 3-hour movie can be perfectly fine if you have enough content to make that make sense. But you can tell when a movie starts to become just self-indulgent, and you're seeing actors, like, just chewing on the scenery, and you're seeing these epic scenes where they're showing off something they're doing with the camera for an Oscar and not for the audience. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. That's not, I don't like it if a filmmaker's like, well, I'll waste the audience's time because I'm not writing this for them. It's like, well, I'm your paycheck, so maybe you should. Or at least that's how I like to think of it. Obi-Wan Kenobi in Middle-earth. Sure. It's all fan fiction, just whatever. For me, Nolan's Batman trilogy is the only ones I consider to be canon. Nolan's trilogy was fantastic. Like, he kind of nailed it. I kind of wouldn't mind seeing Batman go back to being a little more corny at this point. Like, it's more darker.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, I love Michael Keaton. He's my favorite Batman still. See, Pattinson wasn't bad either. A little moody, but young Bruce was like that. Yeah, yeah. I totally disagree. I really enjoyed the Lord of the Rings trilogy. and the Hobbit trilogy. Loved them. So Lord of the Rings trilogy was pretty solid. Totally there. Hobbit trilogy, to me, got very self-indulgent. And that's just, again, a temperament or choice thing, right? Because the Lord of the Rings world, you could probably sit through, a 10-hour movie of like Harry Potter if you're really like running around exploring Diagon Alley and looking at Hogwarts Castle because you're in this world you want to see, which is what Lord of the Rings offers. It's just reading The Hobbit. You can read The Hobbit faster than you can watch the trilogy. And they added felt like they were really reaching for stuff in there. But if you just are willing to take anything because you want to be in that world enough, then you're probably going to enjoy it. Just how it works. Venom 2 was like a 90-minute story. Felt short, but at the same time, it had a story and told it efficiently. Venom 2 was all right. A little confusing. Like, it's almost like a romantic comedy between Eddie Brock and Venom. And I love, Tom Hardy's an amazing actor, and I really enjoy watching him. It's just Eddie Brock seemed like such a loser the whole time that it became sort of sad to watch after a while. No one has done Batman better than the Batman animated series. Oh, true fact, Todd. That Batman animated series was penultimate right there. I heard the Seven reference. I also seen the set pre-editing. Quite amazing. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely that kind of influence there. It's just falls apart at the end. To me. And see, I didn't say I didn't like it. It was just there were bits that dragged. We almost forgot about the Black Adam with The Rock. Yeah, that was the first time the previews for the Batman have a little preview of Black Adam, which was the first I'd seen. So yeah, you have The Rock, Dwayne Johnson in there, and then the new Aquaman and Flash and someone else. There are 4. Let's see, the guy that did the cinematography worked on The Mandalorian. Oh, nice. Cinematography was great. They totally did their job. Patrick, Kitty liked the scenes where he pulled his cowl off and it looked like an emo rock star from our earlier years. Kitty's so cute. I miss her. See, Jake, I like the Hobbit book more than the movies. They dragged. The Hobbit's definitely different than the whole Lord of the Rings, but whatever. Mac Attack, I have to say, Spider-Man No Way Home was so amazing. They did so much with that movie. Spider-Man No Way Home was a bit of an emotional roller coaster, because part of, I took issue with some things, like Doctor Strange just making that kind of mistake at all is wildly outside of his character, and I understand it was baby hubris, but his literal job is to see all possibilities, so a little bit of a false start for me on that one. But it totally won me over by the end, and the nostalgia they brought in, and them really redeeming, the Amazing Spider-Man in the hearts of so many people. It nailed it. They did a great job with that movie, all things considered. So, yeah, the Hobbit book is amazing. Have you watched Lord of the Rings animated movie from Ralph Bakshi? I think I saw the Hobbit version. Well, was there a Hobbit version? That was the same studio that did the Rankin Bass. Rankin and Bass. The ones who did...
Wizards was the other one.
Well, I think that's the same animation house that did... Ralph Bakshi. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've only seen Wizards then, by Ralph Bakshi. I've not seen the Lord of the Rings animated series. Peacemaker is the most fun I've had watching TV in a long time. I have not seen Peacemaker. My favorite TV still is Cobra Kai. I love Cobra Kai so much. But I don't watch a lot of TV. I just go see movies. So I'll have to check that out. Whew. Well, on that note, guys, I think I may have to wrap it up. Thank you again, Mac Attack. I appreciate the super chats and the insight. I agree with you on No Way Home. The way I judge movies is generally because I see so many, there's formulas and things that you start to recognize after a while, and I don't criticize a movie just for following a formula, but the thing that mostly makes me upset with a movie is if it fails to be consistent with itself. And if it fails to convey a coherent story that is at least portrayed as the intention of it, And even if it's complicated or complex, like the whole Witcher series or whatever, I know people were confused about the time jumping around and stuff there. That's not the part that I'm going to criticize it for. It's just going to be like character motivations or character hypocrisy or character hypocrisy that's never called out, I guess. Those are things that like frustrate me with characters, or plot armor, or just people making sweeping generalizations about how society works when they've never lived in it, which is what Hollywood does, and that kind of frustrates me in general. But ho him. Yes. DC announced they're doing a show that'll follow Colin Farrell's Penguin during his younger years. Oh, yeah, Colin Farrell blew me away. I was like, who? What? He's not in this movie? And then, yeah, he's the Penguin, I guess. Let's see, Fire and Ice plays like an issue of Heavy Metal magazine. Following the formula is not necessarily a bad thing as long as they are internally consistent and tell an interesting and entertainment story. Exactly. And that's all I'm saying. Or you can even have exceptions to that if you make up for it in other ways. Like I've commented millions of times at this point about The Fifth Element. Like it's a story that's not actually all that strong, but it's just so well told, and the actors make that movie what it is. And it's a 10 for that reason. It's great. So, ho-hem, we shall continue this again in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks will be the first day of Adepticon for possibly anybody showing up. That Wednesday, it'll be the first day of the convention, which is really early in the week. And I know most people show up in the weekend. So for all of you going to Adepticon, tell me how it is. Have a great time, and I'll be sad to miss it. But otherwise, we'll be back in 2 weeks. You all have a wonderful evening. Enjoy your week. Thank you again for personal hobby therapy. You guys have no idea how much you help me stay grounded and sane. I look forward to these. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.